Hello everyone, it's Amy and welcome back for week 171 of Build Your Stash and Craft. Today we are going to make ribbon roses, but I call these like ribbon candy roses because I've done these a different way a long time ago, and you make it like a ribbon candy like you get at Christmas time and then turn it into a rose, and I could not do the rolled roses. And so I had was sitting playing with some ribbon one night, and I came up with how to do this with a needle and thread, but I just saw a video of someone doing it, which is actually turns out to me a little bit better, but they're about the same. So we're going to make this, and what we're going to need is about 20 inches of ribbon. Now I tried this with a solid ribbon. I had a piece of it here. I tried it with a ribbon like this that's a solid silk. And hold on just one second. And it did not work because I couldn't pull the ribbon through. Now it may be because of the way I cut the ribbon, because I cut the ribbon at a point like this, and the lady that showed it, she cut it on an angle, so that might be why it didn't work. But I think you need a wider weave in your ribbon. Like organza ribbon has a very wide weave in it, like you can get through there a little bit easier. So what we're going to do is we're going to take about 20 inches of our ribbon, and it doesn't have to be exact. Let's do that again. Okay. There's 12, and then there's another 8. So about 20 inches of ribbon. So there we go. And then we are just going to take one of our needles. Now, this needle has some kind of a scoop. I couldn't tell you what kind of a needle this is. It just came in our pack of needles that we got. But if you have like a needle that's a little bit bigger around, and you also need a fairly decent size hole in it, but the bigger round needle is going to help you because it's going to help you pull that ribbon through at the end when we need to pull the ribbon through. So we're going to start about 1 inch down from the beginning of our ribbon. And then we're going to, it doesn't matter what width of ribbon you have, what you want to do is you want to take a stitch that's about the same as the width of your ribbon. So this ribbon is 5/8, so I want to take a stitch that's about 5/8 of an inch long right in the center. Now there's nothing on our needle, and we are just going to continue going. It's just a running stitch, which is just up, back and forth, or up and down, however you want to say it, through the ribbon, right down the center, until you get to the other end. Now, if you don't get it exactly perfectly in the middle, that works okay. You do want to try and keep your stitches about the same size, and so that will make your petals better. And just let it keep lining up on your, just push it back on your needle and just let it stay there until you get all the way to the other end. So I'm just going to keep going about 5/8 of an inch, and I'm not measuring this, so there are going to be different sizes, but that's okay because all of your petals don't need to be totally exact. You just want them to be pretty close. When you look at anything in nature, it's not perfect. All the petals are not exactly the same size. But this is something that you can do in place of doing a rolled ribbon. If you like the looks of the rolled roses, you can do this instead. Now I went right to the very end of my ribbon. So now we've got it all on here. And what we're going to do is we are just going to, this already has an angle in it, but I'm going to cut a little bit of a steeper angle. Make it a little bit pointier. So if you can see that, like that. And then we're going to take that point and we're just going to put it through the eye of the needle. Just like that, and pull it through just like that. Then we're going to pull down on this and hold it kind of tight. We're not pulling it through yet, we're just holding it there kind of tight. And then you're going to just turn your needle, and I kind of like hold on to a layer. She didn't, but she's better at it than I am. So I just kind of turn it a bit, and what's happening is it's turning kind of like a layer around, and then I just kind of hold that there and kind of turn the next layer. And you do have to kind of hold it tight because that's what helps it turn, but not too tight. If it won't turn at all, you're pulling down on it too hard. Okay, so there we go. Now we've got what looks pretty much like a ribbon rose. And what we're going to do now is we are going to pull our needle through, just like that, and then take it off. Okay, and so this is what we have now. Now I have this petal here is really big. There's really nothing I can do about that. I can't, you know, it's in the middle. But I am going to, a few of my ones on the bottom were very stacked on top of each other. You just want to make sure that you don't have one of your folds on top of another fold. You want to move them around so that they're sticking out in different places on your rose. Now you're going to hold on to this here and then just kind of go in. Now these three have stacked up on top of each other again, so I'm going to take this one and move it a little bit, and take this one and move it a little bit, and try and hold them there. And then just take your hot glue gun and just kind of separate a layer and just put in just a touch of hot glue. You want to get way down in there so that it doesn't show. And just the littlest amount. I'm going to come in and maybe do one on the other side. Way down in there just a little bit. I'm going to hold on to it really tight. And then what you do is take a pair of tweezers, grab a hold of the very start or the very middle of your rose here, and then just give it a twist. And you pretty much want to twist it kind of the way that your rose has already been twisted. And just give that a bit of a twist, and that will twist down as you go, and then let it go, and that gives you more of that bud type center on your rose. Once you get that there, go in somewhere towards the top, and again just a little bit, and then use your tweezers to just kind of push down on that. Give it a second to catch hold. And then once you've done that, I'm going to go in here to this end and just put a little bit of glue there and push that right up there. Don't burn your fingers. Excuse me. And once you get that done, you can squish it around. Maybe put a little bit more glue down here. You can also tack this with a needle if you want to. Got a piece of cat hair on there. We don't want that. I'm going to hold that down and just trim off this excess here. Give it a squish. And there you go. You've got the look of a rolled rose, but you don't have to do all that twisting and turning and, you know, something that is very hard to do sometimes. I finally have the knack of it, but it took me a long time to get the knack of those rolled ribbons where you twist it. Now, if you don't want to use the hot glue gun, if you don't have a big needle, what you can do is just, and I'm going to do this, or if you have a ribbon that doesn't have a wide weave on it, I'll put that over there. I'm going to take about the same amount. So there's 12, and there's 8, so about 20 inches. I just have a needle and thread. Doesn't matter what size your needle and thread is. Okay, and then what we're going to do is I'm going to take the very beginning of this, and I'm just going to kind of like fold it over And I'm going to put my needle between where I've folded it, like that. Hope I can remember how to do this. And then I'm going to fold it, kind of roll it onto itself, and just give it a little bit of a stitch kind of towards the middle, towards the bottom, just to hold that little rolled piece together, because we want a little rolled center. Oh, and don't mess up your thread like that. See if I can fix it. Oh, hate it when that happens. Let's see, I think it's twisted around itself even. There we go. That did it. Okay, so once you just get a little tiny bit of a roll there, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up right next to it in the center of my ribbon. And I'm going to do the same thing that I did with the other ribbon. I'm going to take stitches that is about the same length as the width of my ribbon. And if you really, really wanted, you could go down and say, okay, this is how wide this ribbon is, 5/8 of an inch or whatever, and you could put a dot at every 5/8 of an inch, but you really don't have to do that. That one I made really large. I don't want it to be quite that big. And then you're just going to keep going in and out or up and down, however you want to describe that, until you get to the other end of your ribbon. Now this ribbon is a lot heavier than the other one, so I'm going to kind of look at this and say, I think that's probably about enough. Maybe I'll just take a couple more stitches. I don't think I'm going to go all the way to the end, because I don't want my flower to be, you know, too deep. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to just, ow, and you can pull your needle through, right, you know, as you're going, because you've got your thread on there to catch that. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to cut this off at the bottom so that you can't see it. Don't cut your thread. Okay, and the reason that I called it Ribbon Candy Roses is because I can remember when I was little, my dad used to always get ribbon candy at Christmas time, and that's what that reminded me of, was ribbon candy, just back and forth and back and forth. And so then I'm just going to give that a little bit of a pull. And then I'm just going to twist it by hand. And the reason I kind of folded that over and then over again was because I didn't want the frayed end of my ribbon to show. So I'm going to just maybe put a little bit of glue on there. And just stick that in there to give me the start. And then just twist it. And the only thing is you just want to kind of remember which way you're twisting. Pull that up there. Hold it tight. And twist it until your layers are in different areas to make your petals. That makes your petals here and here and here and here and here and here, like that. And then what I did was I just took my needle and went back up through the ribbon in different places, or all the way up to the top. Now I want to kind of make sure that, just kind of want to adjust my little bud part there. I'm going to just set my needle on there so I can go all the way up through the top. And just push it down. Oh, I think the hot glue is affecting it. But there we go. And then just pull it through. And because my hands don't want to grab it that well, I'm just going to use a pair of pliers and just pull that through. Give it a nice tight pull. Make sure you've got it where you want it. And then if you don't have a glue gun, just keep it nice and tight. Make sure you like the looks of it. And then you can just put some stitches in here and there. Maybe go through right here. You want to kind of come out in the middle so that your thread's not showing. And then just come around to here, go into the middle, just go through to the other side, and just do that until it feels like it's as sturdy as you want it to be. And then either go out the bottom or out the top. And you just want to make sure when you go through the middle that you're just catching different parts of your rose. Like that. Now my bottom is very frayed, so I'm just going to cut that off. And I have totally squished my top bud, so I'm going to take my needle, come back up in the middle, and then I'm just going to kind of stand it up and fold it over, just however it looks good to you. And then just come back out somewhere in the middle. And there we go. Then you're going to just tie a knot in that. We have a little bit of fuzzies there that I don't like, so I'm going to take that out. Just nip that off. And if you melt the end of this type of ribbon just very lightly with a lighter, that will also melt that so that it doesn't fray as bad. And then you're just going to knot your ribbon. I'm going to knot it right here. Usually I go through, back again all the way to the bottom, and then knot it at the bottom, but for speed's sake, we're just going to knot it right here. So long as we don't make a mess with our thread. And it's just kind of stuck that way. So I'm going to just take the whole thing, go between my petals, and remember next time just go all the way to the bottom, so if I have a mess I don't have to deal with it. And this needle has, you don't need a needle with the great big huge hole in it to do this. A regular needle would work better, because this one has a great big hole and it's very hard to get through. And so there we go. I don't want to cut that thread, because if I cut that thread, all of my sewing is going to come undone. So since we have the glue here, I'm just going to tuck that in there like that. And it's going to follow me right back out again. There we go. So there we go. You can sew a ribbon rose, and that looks really cute. Or this way really makes them look really good. I really like this technique. And don't forget to, you know, twist them. Make sure you kind of get them where you want them. But I think that the best part is that at the end to use your tweezers and twist that center until you get a pretty little kind of bud shape there in the center. And I think those just turn out great. So that is our project for this week. I think they're cute. There's so many things you can put them on. You can sew them on clothes. You can put them on your projects. And they're just really fun to make. So next week, we don't have a list for next week. Next week, I'm just going to go through what we have and I'm going to use what we have to do something for next week so that we don't have to go and buy anything. But I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you make these, I hope that you have fun. I really do appreciate you. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope that you all have an outstanding day. Bye-bye.